What about Valentina Shevchenko? Maybe a great one to get in on the show because she seems unbeatable.
I'm ready for anything. I'm a complete fighter. I'm a mixed martial artist.
Presenting Valentina!
Holy f***, this Valentina Shevchenko was pure evil. They said women couldn't be killers in the cage. They said a ballerina had no place in bloodsport. But when Valentina "Bullet" Shevchenko stepped into combat, she doesn't just win, she executes. From 15-year-old prodigy to this Valentina was pure evil.
In mixed martial arts, and many people will say she is just amongst the top 10 best fighters in mixed martial arts and not even put it into categories of male.
Welcome to Punch Club, fellas. Here we go. The birth of a killer. Some fighters are born with talent, others forge themselves through discipline. But Valentina Shevchenko, she's got nightmare and masterpiece. Born on March 7, 1988, Shevchenko carved from Kyrgyz mountains and Russian precision, a ballerina who learned violence as her second language. And in 2003, just 15 years old, this teenager destroyer stepped into her first real war and destroyed opponents. The boxing controversy. Mary's Rinkin, 2011. On December 17, 2011, boxing purists were furious. How dare an unranked Muay Thai fighter with only one professional boxing match get a world title shot? When champion Melissa Hernandez was told she'd defend her WIBA lightweight belt against Valentina Shevchenko, she vacated the title in protest, calling it a slap in the face to women's boxing. The title fight fell through, but Shevchenko wasn't leaving Peru empty-handed. Instead, she faced Mary's Rinkin, a 30-year-old Colombian veteran with a 9-3 record and 3 knockouts, more experienced and more comfortable in pure boxing. But from the opening bell, Shevchenko fought in a kickboxing stance, wider base, different angles, unorthodox positioning for boxing. And whenever Rinkin got close, Shevchenko grabbed her in Muay Thai clinches, controlling posture and positions like this was a Thai ring, not a boxing ring. Rinkin protested, but Shevchenko just kept doing what worked. Mixing boxing combinations with clinch control, breaking every unwritten rule while technically staying within the written ones. Round after round, Shevchenko's unorthodox style frustrated the damaged Rinkin. The Colombian's face swelled. By round 4, Rinkin had seen enough. At 2 minutes and 28 seconds, Shevchenko landed a combination that sent Rinkin back to her corner, broken in body and spirit. When the bell rang to start round 5, Rinkin stayed on her stool. Retirement. She couldn't continue. The TKO retirement, Shevchenko proved a point. Rules are just boundaries, and she fought right up to every edge without crossing the line. The 91-second massacre, Fabiana Dutra, 2013. But on June 22, 2013, crowd wanted blood, specifically Shevchenko's blood. Fabiana Dutra was their champion. Their hope, the fighter who would send this foreign invader home broken, but it only lasted 91 seconds. The bell rang. Both fighters felt each other out briefly. Standard opening exchanges, nothing spectacular. Just two professionals measuring distance and timing. The crowd roared for Dutra. Shevchenko circled calmly, patient as death. Then at 1:31 of round 1, Shevchenko created art. She threw a spinning back kick, one of the most spectacular, most dangerous techniques in combat sports. Shevchenko's calculation was flawless. The kick traveled like a guided missile, her heel or shin connecting flush with Dutra's body, and a sound that echoed over the crowd noise. That distinctive, sickening thud of bone meeting flesh at full power. Dutra went down instantly. Her body crumpled like someone had cut her strings. The referee didn't bother counting. One look at Dutra's face told him everything. The home crowd fell silent. Their champion lay motionless. The foreign invader stood calmly and professionally, having just delivered one of the most spectacular knockouts of the year in 91 seconds. ESPN featured it on their website. Articles circulated for years. The spinning back kick became Shevchenko's signature, the technique opponents feared most because if you saw it coming, there's no missing it. The MMA statement, Priscilla Oriana, 2013. Shevchenko had conquered Muay Thai. She dabbled in boxing. Now, mixed martial arts called the Fusion FC5 gave her the stage on December 18, 2013. Priscilla Oriana entered with confidence in her ground game, believing she could drag the striker into deep waters and drown her there. Round 1 was competitive. Oriana tested Shevchenko's takedown defense, looked for openings, survived the striking exchanges. Maybe this would be a war after all. Then came round 2 when Shevchenko decided she'd seen enough. At exactly 50 seconds, just under a minute into the second round, Shevchenko unleashed a combination of punches that came from every angle imaginable. This was precision violence, each punch thrown with technical perfection and bad intentions. The referee had seen enough. This was becoming a public execution, and he wasn't going to let it continue. Another dominant performance, another finish. Shevchenko was building an MMA resume that would soon catch the UFC's attention. And when the UFC came calling, she was more than ready to answer.
Ooh, that's a nice knee.
Enter the UFC, Priscilla Cachoeira, 2018. February 3rd, 2018. This was supposed to be Valentina Shevchenko's UFC flyweight debut. Her first fight at 125 pounds after 2 heartbreaking losses to Amanda Nunes at bantamweight, where she'd been outsized and outmuscled. The UFC had just created the women's flyweight division, and Shevchenko was immediately positioned as the top contender. Standing across from her was Priscilla "Zombie Girl" Cachoeira, undefeated at 8-0, making her UFC debut, fighting in front of her home crowd in Brazil.
Real heroes from director Clint Eastwood in theaters February 9th. UFC debut is 2 inches taller. Valentina Shevchenko advantage.
The opening Crimson Mask, but referee Mario Yamasaki in what would become one of the most controversial officiating performances in UFC history let it continue. Round 1 ended with Cachoeira having absorbed 95 of 108 strikes from Shevchenko while landing only 1 strike herself. Her corner sent her back out for round 2. Crucifix 15 seconds in. Shevchenko landed another takedown. She passed guard 4 times.
Looking for earning her nickname of the Bullet when she was 12 years old. Work once again and really controlling Cachoeira.
So these strikes
moved to side control, trapped both arms in the crucifix position, and rained down nearly 90 additional strikes. Shevchenko locked into the rear naked choke. Cachoeira tapped twice. Yamasaki missed the first tap. The fight was over at 4 minutes and 25 seconds of round 2. 230-3. It wasn't a fight. It was a public execution that should have been stopped 5 minutes earlier. Valentina Shevchenko at flyweight was a completely different animal, and she was coming for the gold. The head kick heard around the world. Jessica I, UFC 238, 2019. On June 8, 2019 at the United Center, Chicago, Illinois, was history in the making. First ever UFC women's flyweight title defense. Shevchenko had captured the belt by defending Joanna Jedrzejczyk 6 months earlier, and now she faced Jessica Evil Eye, a Cinderella story of redemption. I had nearly been cut from the UFC after going 1-5-1 at bantamweight, fighting undersized and overmatched, but at flyweight, she rattled off 3 straight wins, including a victory over top contender Caitlin Chukagian. She'd earned this shot through pure heart, but the problem was that she was facing a 14-1 favorite. Pre-fight drama was petty and perfect. I accused Shevchenko of speeding up a training video to look faster. Shevchenko responded ice cold, saying I had slow vision. My pressure, my ability to come forward will be a factor. My I don't care meter is pretty high right now. Fight night arrived, and I made good on her promises for the 4 rounds. Round 1 belonged to I's aggression. She took center, threw punches, established forward pressure. Maybe she had a chance.
1.
But this time clearly in the side control, and she's not
Watch the
going
back of the head. Watch the back of the head, Valentina.
she's not going to give up that left leg so easily.
Round 2, 3, and 4 told a different story. Shevchenko began systematically dismantling Ai piece by piece. Jabs snapped her head back. Body kicks accumulated damage. Takedowns put Ai in her back, where Shevchenko's grappling superiority became obvious.
Here it is.
There it is.
Fully trapped, and this is a very, very difficult position to get out. Lucky for her, she doesn't have much time. She got her.
By round 4, Ai's face was swelling, her movement slowing, but her heart refused to quit. She made it to round 5, 26 seconds. That's all Shevchenko needed. Ai stepped forward with her signature pressure, and in that split-second movement, Shevchenko loaded up her left leg. A head kick traveled like a ballistic missile, crashed into Ai's skull with sickening precision, and sent her crashing to the canvas unconscious before she hit the ground. Her body went rigid. First TKO KO in Shevchenko's entire UFC career. Crucifix Clinic, Caitlin Shukagian, UFC 247, 2020. February 8, 2020, Caitlin Shukagian entered as the #1 contender, riding a wave of confidence. Her movement-based style, footwork, head movement, and constant motion would befuddle Shevchenko in ways previous challengers hadn't, or so she believed. Round 1, Shevchenko worked hard leg kicks to slow Shukagian's movements.
Those do something to get her respect. She's got to catch her. Let her lead. Let her attack.
Scored a takedown late and opened a huge gash above Shukagian's left eye with a brutal elbow. Blood immediately streamed down Shukagian's face. In round 2, Shukagian came out bleeding. Shevchenko landed a spinning back kick to the belly, then unleashed her full arsenal. Round 3 came and Shukagian was desperate, tried to pull guard. Shevchenko trapped her arm and positioned it into the crucifix position. Both arms trapped, head completely exposed.
Fight it at all. This is what happens.
She was. Now it's a terrible position. This easily could be the end of the fight here, and it may very well.
She began blasting Shukagian's forehead with hard, fast shots like pistons pumping. TKO. Shevchenko looked like a prime Matt Hughes who had elite kickboxing. She's a nightmare for anyone in the weight class, the worst nightmare. Jessica Andrade, former strawweight champion, knockout artist, and physical powerhouse, she destroyed Caitlin Shukagian in under 1 round to earn this shot. At plus 310 underdog odds, she believed her strength and pressure would be the difference. Dana White called her a real problem for Shevchenko. Andrade planned to tire the champion and finish in round 3, then reclaim the strawweight belt for champ status. But what happened instead became legendary. Round 1 began with Shevchenko doing the unexpected. She took Andrade down repeatedly, ragdolling the physical, strong Brazilian around the octagon while slamming takedowns. The same fighter who'd knocked out Rose Namajunas with a brutal slam was being outslammed. Shevchenko was nearly locked in a rear naked choke, completely dominating on the ground.
Huge body shot that closed the show against Shukagian her last time out.
Blacked up already.
Yeah.
Round 2 was more slamming takedowns. Then Shevchenko moved into her signature position, mounted crucifix. Both Andreas' arms trapped, head completely exposed. Shevchenko opened a cut on Andreas' forehead. Blood flowed. Seeing it, Shevchenko later said she plummeted Andrade with a violent precision until referee Dan Miragliota stopped at 3:19 of round 2. Final statistic, 6 takedowns on 6 attempts, perfect 100% success rate. At her post-fight interview, Shevchenko made an uncharacteristic statement. Opponents tried to figure out a weakness of mine because there is no weakness. Shevchenko had just out-wrestled a former champion known for her strength, finished her brutality, and declared herself complete. Systematic demolition. Lauren Murphy, UFC 266, 2021. On September 25, 2021, Lauren Lucky Murphy entered on a 5-fight winning streak. 38 years old, she was tough as nails, earning her shot by defending Joanne Calderwood. She'd never finished in her entire career. But the odd makers weren't kind. Shevchenko was just an overwhelming favorite that some questioned if Murphy even belonged in the cage. Murphy didn't care. She believed her pressure and grit would be the difference. She was wrong. From the opening bell, Shevchenko made Murphy's life miserable. A cracking check hook, a vicious liver kick, another right hook.
Andrade fight that was late 2020.
Andrade in that way.
The champion was landing at will, and Murphy's left eye swelling grotesquely by the end of round 1. Round 2 saw Murphy try to make it dirty in the clinch, but Shevchenko denied every takedown, returned to distant kickboxing and landing another brutal body lock takedown. Total control until the bell.
Oh, man. She's dominating, so maybe we're judging her unfairly a bit.
Murphy just could not hit Shevchenko. Every attempt was answered with a right hook across the jaw. Triple jabs from Bullet. Murphy's face continued swelling like a balloon at a kid's birthday party, but her heart refused to quit. Then came round 4, and Shevchenko decided it was time to end this public execution. Exactly 4 minutes in, Murphy stepped forward with her characteristic pressure, and Shevchenko uncorked a counter right hook that connected flush. Murphy's legs betrayed her. A left head kick followed, and then a violent flurry of punches sent Murphy crashing to the canvas. Ground and pound rained down with surgical precision. Referee Keith Peterson had seen enough. TKO, 4 minutes of round 4. Before that night, Murphy had never been finished. Shevchenko just broke that record like a kid smashing a piñata. 6 consecutive title defense. The Bullet was untouchable. From elbow finishes in Thailand to head kicks in Chicago, Peru, and the UFC, Valentina Shevchenko carved out a legacy that defies borders and styles. Elbows that cut like blades, kicks that end nights, submissions that silence doubters, and boxing so clean it could teach a class. She didn't just master mixed martial arts, she redefined it. The Bullet doesn't chase targets, she calculates, adapts, and strikes with precision. Every opponent became a lesson. Every defense became a masterpiece. Every finish became a warning to those who dare to step next. And when the story of women's combat sports is told, her name won't just be remembered, it'll be etched into the scars, sweat, and respect of every fighter who ever stood across from her. This is Punch Club, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.